If you're traveling abroad this summer, congratulations, enjoy yourself, but be safe. And here are some tips I want to share with you that will make certain that if you have a medical emergency occur while abroad, you will be in the best possible hands or the best possible situation to get yourself back here safely and get excellent medical care there. So here's my first tip. First, make certain that you have excellent emergency contact information, both on your person as well as back here at home. Make sure whoever your emergency contact is going to be knows that. That way, if they're getting a foreign number call, they don't ignore it like it's spam. It's very important that they're aware here you've listed them, and it's very important to you to have all of their contact information on you. You can keep that on your cell phone. You can keep it written on a piece of paper. I recommend both. If you lose your cell phone, you can always direct someone to a piece of paper that you may have in your room with this on it. Second tip, make certain that you have a written medication list. A handwritten medication list in your baggage is critical, with medication names and doses. Also, having the same thing saved on your cell phone is important as well. If you're out and about and you see a doctor and you need it, you'll have it handy on your phone. However, if you are not able to get into your phone because you've had an incapacitating type of illness, someone there could certainly easily retrieve it from your hotel where maybe a security code on the phone was preventing that. So an accurate and complete medication list is important. Third tip, medication quantities. Many people will leave on vacation and they take exactly the amount of medication they're going to need day by day. Please be certain to take a little extra. It's not unusual for a trip to get delayed a little bit on the front end or a little bit on the back end. A couple days here and a couple days there can quickly become a week without medications. Your medications are important. That's why you're on them. Do not miss any doses. Take a little extra. Now, I don't take a month's supply or overdo the extras I take for a couple reasons. First, there's always the risk of theft, and we don't want that. And second, medications don't do well when exposed. Sometimes the shaking in a bag as they're being transported can break down pills that are tablet type in nature. Sometimes exposures to moisture in the air or such might also make a medication not as effective. So make certain that you take a little extra, but you don't need to overdo it. Also remember that in most countries, you can get the exact same medications there that you get here. Sometimes with even less headache, where you can walk into a pharmacy and make a simple request for a high blood pressure medication or a statin for your high cholesterol, or you name it across the board. Pretty easy to get. Fourth tip, travel insurance. I can't state enough how important travel insurance is. For the most part, it's very affordable. And the great thing is that it covers all of the things that many insurances don't cover. What do I mean by that? Well, in many countries, they don't recognize your United or your Aetna or your standard health insurance. They're going to want cash payment before you can get out of there. If you have travel insurance, they are set up to take care of and handle things like that. They're almost a no questions asked way to either be reimbursed or to have your travel issues covered abroad. But most importantly, should you have a catastrophic type illness, a major event that requires air transport back to the United States, where you have a medical professional with you or where you're being monitored, that is going to be extremely expensive. Travel insurance is your only protection. For the small amount that it costs, it's worth it for those prolonged trips a long way away. It is your ticket back home safely. And lastly, and very important, it's so simple before you leave on your trip to get the number of the local consulate or embassy. Have that in hand. You need to know when you are there that you always have someone that can translate if necessary, that can contact your emergency contact here if necessary, that can help guide you through processes that you may not understand. That is exactly what the embassies are there for. Our United States embassies are there to serve us, U.S. citizens, when we travel abroad. Have that number handy. Again, that's one that you want both in your cell phone and on a piece of paper in your baggage. They are a solution to the worst of scenarios. They are a solution to about anything you will need abroad when you throw up your hands and you go, what do I do now? That's what you do. So I hope those 5 tips are helpful. Emergency contact information, medication list, medication quantities, good travel insurance, and the local embassy or consulate contact. If you remember those 5 things, you'll have a great travel abroad. Enjoy it. Let us know. Send us a message here at Ramos Law. Tell us what you did. I'm always excited to see people living out their dreams and living life to its fullest.